The story begins at Jian Mental Hospital, where the first patient confidently claims that Earth is actually square, and that anyone who believes it is round needs treatment. The second patient introduces himself as the Divine Professor. He proudly claims to have discovered a revolutionary medicine that can completely change human biology. Meanwhile, a third patient claims that he saw the future in a dream, and that the world is about to end. The hospital dean explains that most of the patients have unusual hobbies, but those hobbies are not really a problem. The real concern is room 666, where two particularly extreme patients are staying, Shen and Ren. Shen is obsessed with pushing his limits, while Ren is constantly searching for new ways to test his own endurance. The two regularly conduct bizarre experiments on themselves. Earlier that morning, Shen had subjected Ren to an intense electrical experiment, leaving both of them hospitalized. The scene shifts to Ren's hospital room. Shen asks his friend how he feels after the latest treatment. Ren says that his body feels strangely different, and while he was going through the experience, he felt as if he could see the entire universe. Shen also reveals that he recently learned a new technique involving needles, which he believes can make Ren's body even stronger. Ren then says that something incredible happened to him. He thinks he heard a mysterious system welcoming him, and he suspects that he has activated the strongest man system. 3 minutes before the surgery, the doctors examine Ren. They discover that he had connected a wire directly to his body, causing severe physical strain. Surprisingly, however, his internal condition remains relatively stable. His blood pressure is normal, although his heart rate has increased slightly. The doctor immediately insists that Ren needs treatment before his condition gets worse. Ren calmly tells the doctor not to worry. He claims that the experience is actually helping him purify and strengthen his body. He starts talking about cultivation. The doctor becomes frustrated and explains that Ren's body has already suffered serious injuries from the experiment. Ren refuses to take any painkillers. He believes that discomfort is necessary for training, and claims that his mind is far stronger than an ordinary person's. According to him, the doctors cannot understand his mindset because they have not reached his level. The doctor finally tells Ren that he has heard enough nonsense. As a medical professional, his job is to keep patients safe. Ren simply tells him to continue with the treatment if he wants, because he believes his body has an extraordinary self-healing ability. The narrator then explains that Ren's current condition is actually nothing compared to what he was like as a child. When Ren was only 10 years old, he was already obsessed with making his mind stronger. He would perform extremely dangerous training exercises. Even when his mother tried to stop him, Ren refused to listen. One day, Ren's obsession nearly caused a serious accident. His mother arrived just in time and prevented the situation from becoming even worse. That was when she realized something was seriously wrong with her son's behavior. She immediately took Ren to a mental hospital for evaluation. After his evaluation, the doctors classified Ren as a level 5 mental health patient. They determined that he was not considered a direct danger to society, but he could be extremely unsafe to himself because of his reckless obsession with becoming stronger. Because of this, Ren remained under hospital supervision. Back in the present, Ren has now been transferred to a VIP room. He tells Shen that he is about to level up. The last time Shen used his needle technique on him, Ren felt that his cultivation had begun to unlock. He asks Shen to use the technique again. Shen agrees and prepares to help his friend with another experimental treatment. Shen tells Ren that he recently learned a new technique from an ancient manual and believes it can make Ren much stronger. He immediately uses the technique on Ren, then asks how he feels. Ren says he can hear strange voices inside his mind. Shen becomes excited, thinking Ren's cultivation is finally beginning to unlock. However, Ren suddenly loses consciousness, and his condition becomes unstable. The medical staff rush him to the emergency room. While the doctors try to stabilize him, the strongest man system suddenly activates. The system welcomes Ren and rewards him with a powerful martial arts manual called the Qianchu technique. It explains that once Ren completely masters it, he will become one of the strongest people in the world. Meanwhile, the exhausted doctors finish Ren's emergency procedure. One doctor was desperately looking forward to finally getting some food and rest after working through the night. But just as he sits down to eat, a nurse arrives with another emergency. Ren has once again pushed his body too far, and the doctor has to return immediately. The doctor was completely exhausted. He cannot believe that moments after finishing one procedure, he has to perform another. Elsewhere, someone calls the hospital dean to ask whether they should prepare arrangements for Ren. The dean quickly tells him to cancel everything because the city hospital has confirmed that Ren's condition has improved. The caller complains that repeatedly canceling the arrangements is causing problems, but the dean tells him to remain patient. After all, nobody at the mental hospital can predict what Ren will do next. Then the doctor calls the dean and vents his frustration. He explains that Ren keeps appearing with a completely new medical emergency every time the doctors think they have finally stabilized him. The doctor had only finished Ren's procedure the previous night, yet by morning, Ren was already in critical condition again. The doctor cannot understand how Ren keeps enduring all of this, and wonders why the young man constantly pushes himself beyond safe limits. The dean tells his assistant not to cancel the arrangements completely, because they might still be needed. Just then, another emergency call comes in. The doctor learns that Ren has once again returned to the emergency room only 30 minutes after his previous procedure. Despite being completely exhausted, the doctor refuses to abandon him. He tells the hospital staff that he will personally make sure Ren is stable before returning. No matter how difficult the situation becomes, he intends to fulfill his responsibility as a doctor. Outside the emergency room, Shen starts analyzing his technique. He realizes that something is still missing from the method. He believes that this may be the reason Ren ended up back in emergency care. Ren had mentioned hearing a strange voice, so Shen becomes convinced that his technique is slowly working. He decides that the next time he performs the technique, he will increase its intensity. People passing by overhear Shen's strange comments and begin wondering what he is talking about. To them, his conversation sounds completely bizarre. Inside the emergency room, the doctor reflects on his career. When he first joined Jian Mental Hospital, he was told that it was an excellent place for young doctors because they would get opportunities to handle complicated cases and gain valuable experience. At the time, he had no idea what he was getting himself into. Since joining the hospital, he has personally treated Ren dozens of times. Almost every time the doctor sees Ren, the young man has pushed himself far beyond reasonable limits. The doctor admits that without timely medical care, Ren could have suffered a serious outcome on several occasions. After repeatedly stabilizing him, however, the doctor has become completely exhausted and starts questioning his life choices. The nurse tries to calm him down and assures him that Ren should be fine this time. At that moment, the strongest man system speaks to Ren. It announces that Ren has completed his training and reached level 5. As a reward, the system offers to enhance his body and asks whether he wants to activate the reward. However, Ren was unconscious and cannot respond. The system detects that Ren has difficulty making safe decisions and determines that he is currently unable to choose what is best for himself. Because of this, the system automatically switches to protective mode. It announces that it will make decisions on Ren's behalf and provide whatever is most beneficial for his survival and development. The system then enhances Ren's body. Meanwhile, a news report appears on television. The people living around the Taishuang mountain region are warned that several level 7 monsters have appeared in the area. The army has already dealt with many of them, but the region remains dangerous. Residents are advised to stay cautious whenever they travel outside. Back at the hospital, the doctor waits anxiously for Ren's procedure to finish. He prepares an ambulance because he wants Ren transferred somewhere safe as soon as possible. Suddenly, a nurse runs toward him with good news. The procedure has been successful, and Ren is stable. The doctor immediately orders the staff to move Ren into the ambulance. He is worried that Ren might push himself too far again the moment nobody is watching. The ambulance driver was confused when he sees the doctor preparing to drive. He reminds the doctor that driving is his responsibility and says that the doctor should focus on the patient instead. But the doctor refuses. He tells the driver that keeping Ren safe is extremely important and insists on driving the ambulance himself. Just before they leave, another nurse stops him. She reminds the doctor that the hospital currently has 2 unusual patients, Ren and Shen. The doctor is taking Ren, while Shen is still undergoing treatment. The nurse then reveals something unexpected. Dr. Wang had been treating Shen, but after completing the procedure, he announced that he was resigning. The other doctor was surprised and asks why. The nurse explains that Dr. Wang considers Shen an extremely difficult patient and no longer wants to work at a hospital where patients like Shen keep appearing. The scene shifts to Director Shi, who prays to the Great Buddha and begs him to keep Ren and Shen away from the hospital. He says that ever since the 2 arrived, he has barely had time to eat or rest. Just then, Mr. Li arrives at Jian Mental Hospital with an ambulance carrying Ren. The dean jokingly complains that even the Great Buddha has stopped listening to him. Director Shi confronts Mr. Li and asks why he brought Ren back when the patient has only just recovered. Mr. Li reminds him that they are old friends and asks him to let Ren and Shen stay at the hospital. Director Shi kneels down and explains that the 2 patients have already caused enough chaos. He says his best doctor had to resign after treating Shen, and he cannot handle another disaster. Mr. Li tells him that he understands his responsibility and drives away with the ambulance. Director Shi watches him leave and realizes that he will have to deal with Ren and Shen himself. He checks on Ren and asks how he is feeling. Ren casually says that he is completely fine and insists that his own recovery system is responsible. Shen also says that he feels perfectly normal. Director Shi is relieved that both patients are stable and orders the staff to place them in a secure room. The staff move Ren and Shen into room 666 and remove anything that could cause trouble. Shen complains that he cannot move properly and asks why Ren is staying silent. Ren tells him to be quiet because he is training his mind. He explains that he can hear a mysterious girl's voice teaching him the world's most powerful martial art. The technique is called Qian Chui, and Ren says his body enhancement has also been completed. He adds that all of Shen's previous techniques have worked surprisingly well. Shen becomes excited and says he has learned another technique that they should try. He claims that using a hammer-like training method could transform Ren's heart into a powerful cultivation core. Later, Director Shi comes to check on them and warns the nurses to report anything unusual. The nurses hesitate because Ren and Shen are secretly planning another extreme training session. Fortunately, there is no hammer available in the room, so they decide not to alarm Director Shi. Director Shi leaves, hoping that he can finally get some peaceful sleep. The scene shifted to a young woman walking down the road while texting her boyfriend. She suddenly notices a level 7 monster approaching from behind and becomes frightened. The story quickly moves past the encounter and returns to the hospital. Ren's enhanced body begins recovering rapidly, causing his bandages to loosen. His previous injuries have completely recovered and his body has become much stronger. Ren removes the remaining bandages and proudly shows Shen how powerful he has become. Shen realizes that his experiments may actually be producing results. Ren says that his years of training have finally started showing results as well. The strongest man system interrupts them and complains that it is actually responsible for Ren's enhancement. It says that Ren and Shen are taking credit for its work. Meanwhile, an electrician was repairing wires inside the hospital and feels nervous because of the strange atmosphere. He imagines that a mental hospital must be full of mysterious sounds and quietly asks for protection. Shen suddenly places a hand on his shoulder, startling him. The electrician realizes that Shen is just a human and tries to calm himself. Shen casually asks whether he has eaten breakfast. The electrician says he has not, so Shen wishes him well and walks away with Ren. The electrician then admits that working at this hospital is extremely stressful. He notices that his hammer is missing and hears strange sounds coming from room 6666. Curious but nervous, he looks inside and sees Shen holding the hammer. Shen asks whether the electrician wants to join their training session. The electrician immediately panics and runs away, calling for help. A short while later, Director Shi's staff bring the electrician back. He insists that Ren and Shen are dangerous and claims that they were using his hammer for an extreme experiment. However, when everyone enters the room, Ren and Shen were simply sitting together and drinking juice. The electrician was shocked and insists that he definitely saw them with his hammer. Ren and Shen casually ask Director Shi whether he wants to have some juice with them. The electrician refuses to continue working and asks them to return his hammer. He says he never wants to pass this building again unless the pay is doubled. Director Shi tells Ren and Shen to return the hammer immediately because he knows they have it. Ren innocently asks what a hammer even is because he claims he has never seen one. Director Shi finally points out that the hammer is hidden right beside Ren, leaving everyone speechless. Ren finally pulls out the hammer and casually asks Director Shi if this is the object everyone has been talking about. He then reveals that he actually has 2 hammers, including one connected to his body. Director Shi nervously says he only needs one and asks Ren to hand it over. Ren tells him to simply take it, but Director Shi asks him to throw it toward him. Ren refuses, because throwing it might hurt someone, and instead asks Director Shi to come closer and take it himself. Director Shi thinks about how close his birthday is, and worries that approaching Ren could turn his celebration into a very unfortunate day. Despite his fear, Director Shi bravely walks forward and carefully takes the hammer from Ren. The nurses are amazed that Director Shi successfully completes the mission and jokingly call it a hospital record. Director Shi proudly tells the electrician that solving problems requires courage. The electrician, however, notices that Director Shi is sweating heavily despite pretending to be fearless. Meanwhile, a news report warns that monsters have become a major threat to the city. The government is trying its best to control the situation, but the danger remains widespread. Citizens are advised not to travel alone because monsters often target isolated people. Inside the hospital, 2 elderly patients start arguing about whether a young woman is one patient's wife or daughter. Their ridiculous misunderstanding quickly turns into a funny family-style argument. Shen notices the confusion and asks Ren whether he knows the young woman. Ren jokingly claims that she is his girlfriend, making everyone even more confused. Shen then teases the elderly man about his family situation. Suddenly, the hospital announces that a monster has been spotted near the building. Everyone nearby is instructed to report immediately if they see anything unusual. The story then shifts to a hunter organization where a young woman announces that she has reached level 2. She says the team should move quickly because a dog-like monster is wandering around the city. She confidently believes their powerful team can handle the creature easily. The girl's name is Jiang Qing, and she specializes in healing abilities. Her teammate reminds her that their mission is supposed to remain secret. Their goal is to defeat the monster and prove the abilities of their elite school team. Jiangqing agrees and says they will show everyone how powerful they have become. Their next destination is Jiang Mental Hospital. Back at the hospital, Shen notices that the news report says the current date is February 29th. Shen is confused because he believes the date should actually be March 7. Ren points out that Shen's unusual watch is something he created himself and questions whether it can even tell accurate time. Shen insists that his watch is real and proudly claims that it is an extremely expensive Rolex. A man wearing glasses approaches and confirms that Shen is indeed holding a Rolex-style watch. He notices that the watch is damaged and offers to repair it using his marker. After making a few adjustments, he proudly declares that the watch is working again. Shen was impressed because the repaired watch appears even better than before. The man claims that his upgraded version can even predict things far ahead of normal time. Shen later realizes that he may have been tricked when he bought the watch and decides to confront the shop owner after leaving the hospital. He boasts that he controls a huge amount of wealth and believes nobody should underestimate him. Meanwhile, Ren's body enhancement is finally nearing completion. Ren tells Shen to relax and drink some soy milk with him. While drinking, Ren says the mysterious voice inside his mind has appeared again. Shen wonders what the voice wants from him this time. Before Ren can respond, the system's countdown reaches 0. The system announces that Ren's body has been completely restored and that he is ready for his next mission. Ren was then transported to another universe, while time in his original world is temporarily frozen. The system explains that Ren must complete a mission before he can return. His task is to help a young man named Chen Yang, who is connected to the founder of the strongest martial arts technique. Ren's soul is transferred into Chen Yang's body, and he must protect him from trouble at school. When Ren opens his eyes, he is confused by his unfamiliar surroundings and his new appearance. Chen Yang's mother enters and warmly tells him that breakfast is ready and that he needs to get to school. Ren finds Chen Yang's unusual personality confusing and wonders why someone would behave so strangely. At breakfast, Chen Yang's mother affectionately tells him that his classmates are already waiting for him at school. Ren quickly finishes the meal and compliments her cooking, surprising her with his unusually confident behavior. Ren then heads to the bus stop and realizes that this new world seems surprisingly peaceful. On the bus, Ren notices a girl struggling to keep her balance, so he kindly offers her his seat. A classmate named Zhang suddenly enters and angrily demands the seat he believes Chen Yang should have saved for him. Zhang expects Chen Yang to apologize, but Ren remains completely calm and refuses to react to his intimidation. Before the situation can escalate, a frightened passenger rushes onto the bus and warns everyone that a dangerous person is approaching. The stranger enters the bus making threats, and the passengers panic as Ren calmly observes the situation, preparing to discover what his new powers can do. Chen Yang tells everyone not to panic because the man is not actually dangerous and will not hurt anyone. However, the stranger steps forward and starts making threatening statements toward the passengers, especially a frightened young girl. The girl desperately asks someone to help her, while everyone on the bus panics. Ren calmly steps forward and grabs the man's knife, completely ignoring the danger. Ren notices that the man is bald and assumes he must be a monk. He questions how a monk could behave so badly and threaten an innocent child. The man insists that he is not a monk and tries to intimidate Ren into backing away. Ren remains completely fearless. He keeps asking the man why someone claiming to be a monk would behave this way. His calm attitude makes the man increasingly nervous, and eventually, the man drops the knife. Ren continues questioning him until the police and an ambulance arrive. Everyone leaves the bus, while the frightened man stays inside and warns the police not to come closer. Ren calmly approaches him because he wants to return the knife. He says he does not like keeping something that belongs to someone else. The man begs Ren to stay away and promises that he will never cause trouble again. He even promises to change his ways and live peacefully. Ren tells him that if he truly wants to become a monk, he should avoid doing anything wrong. Since the man admits his behavior was wrong, Ren decides to leave. Outside, John was completely stunned by everything he has witnessed. He cannot believe how calmly Ren handled the entire situation. Ren walks over to him and asks him to introduce himself again. John nervously says that his name is Chen Yang. Zhang notices that Chen Yang has a large cut on his hand, but is standing calmly despite it. Ren suddenly realizes that Hao is Chen Yang's classmate. Zheng then jokingly says that Ren is not only his classmate, but also his father, leaving everyone confused. A nurse arrives and treats Chen Yang's injured hand. She was surprised by how calmly he behaves because most people react strongly when receiving treatment. Ren explains that he believes discomfort only becomes a problem when the mind allows it to. According to him, if the mind is strong enough, physical discomfort cannot easily affect a person. The nurse thinks Ren is extremely unusual and has never seen a child behave with such confidence. As the police take the troublesome man away, he keeps repeating that he is now going to become a monk and live peacefully. The officers were completely confused by his statements. One officer then praises Ren for his courage and says that he deserves an award for protecting everyone on the bus. The police department even plans to contact his school and recognize him in front of the other students. Ren politely refuses because he is already late for school. The officer was amazed that Ren is more concerned about attending class than receiving an award. The officer tells Ren that he should probably take the day off because he is injured, and promises to explain everything to his school. Ren refuses again. He says that discomfort has never stopped him, and that his mother specifically told him to attend school, so he has no intention of ignoring her. The officer was shocked that Ren can remain so determined despite everything that has happened. Ren finally arrives at Chenyang's high school. He looks around and notices that the students here are all involved in cultivation training. He jokes that if Shen were studying here, he would probably become an excellent professor because of his knowledge of cultivation. Ren enters Chenyang's classroom and notices that many seats are empty. He jokes that the students' minds seem just as empty as their desks. He sits down and remembers that it has been a long time since he last attended school. A flashback shows Chenyang's mother asking a doctor whether her son can return to school. She believes that studying and interacting with other students could help him build a better future. The doctor sadly explains that Chenyang's condition makes a normal school environment difficult for him. His mother realizes that her son may no longer be able to attend school like an ordinary child. Back in the present, a girl suddenly presses a pencil against Ren's hand to intimidate him. She warns Chenyang that he has been acting too confident lately and tells him not to cross her limits. She expects him to react immediately, but Ren remains completely calm. The girl becomes confused because Ren does not seem bothered by what she is doing. She tries to apply more pressure, but Ren still shows almost no reaction. Ren casually asks whether she's joking around with him. He then starts talking about the hospital and says that he is used to much more intense training. Instead of being frightened, Ren jokingly tells her that if she really wants to challenge him, she should use something more suitable for training. The girl was shocked by his strange response and wonders what happened to Chenyang. When she finally pulls the pencil away, she realizes that Ren has actually been injured but has barely reacted. Terrified by his completely unusual behavior, the girl runs away and calls for help. Back in the classroom, another student notices the situation and starts making fun of the girl. He tells Zheng that his girlfriend has become frightened and is running away. He then promises Zheng that after school, he will take care of Chenyang and teach him a lesson. Zhang immediately warns him not to mess with Chenyang because he has become far too strange. Jiru laughs and says Chenyang has always been weird, especially because he is unusually timid despite being a boy. Just then, Ren walks over and greets his classmates. He remembers that they used to enjoy playing with Chenyang and asks why they only want to play with him instead of Ren. Jiru thinks Ren is trying to shake hands with him, but Zhang politely greets Ren instead. Ren recognizes Zhang from the bus and tells him to contact him if he ever needs help. Jiru was shocked that Zhang, who is normally so confident, seems nervous around Ren. The teacher then enters the classroom and reminds everyone about the poem they were supposed to memorize. She asks who wants to recite it first. All the students were terrified because they know how strict the teacher can be. She unexpectedly calls Chenyang to the front. Jiru assumes Chenyang must be extremely nervous and expects him to freeze. Instead, Ren calmly tells the teacher that he has forgotten the poem and asks what she said again. The entire class was stunned by his confidence. Even the teacher senses that something about Chenyang has changed. Ren politely asks if he can sit down, and surprisingly, the teacher agrees. The students cannot believe that she let him off so easily. After class, Jiru approaches Ren and says that he has been acting strangely all day. He points out that Zhang and even the teacher seemed nervous around him. Ren completely ignores him and starts talking about electricity. He explains that electricity can travel through metal and wonders whether the human body can conduct it as well. Ren then jokingly suggests demonstrating it with a key and a power outlet. Jiru thinks he has completely lost his mind and challenges him to prove it. Ren actually goes through with the experiment, and a strange electrical effect spreads through the classroom. Another student touches Jiru and suddenly experiences the same effect. Soon, several students join in, thinking that everyone is performing some kind of unusual dance. Before long, the entire class was caught up in the bizarre situation. Ren eventually removes the key and complains that the electrical effect is too weak to be useful for his training. He says a much stronger power source would have been more effective. When he looks behind him, he finds that the entire class has collapsed from exhaustion. Ren assumes the students simply became tired from studying all morning and wonders why they are resting on the floor. He then decides to visit the restroom. Meanwhile, the mathematics teacher enters the classroom, excited to teach everyone trigonometry. However, the moment he sees the entire class unconscious, he immediately calls for an ambulance. Soon, several ambulances arrive at the school to take the students for medical attention. Ren returns and was confused about what happened. He says he only left for a short while and cannot understand how his classmates ended up needing medical care. The students later gossip about the incident and say that almost everyone in class 12 became unconscious, while Chen Yang was the only student who remained unaffected. Ren then hears a girl calling him from behind a tree. He asks why she is hiding and tells her to come out if she wants to talk. The girl nervously steps forward with a letter in her hands. Ren notices that her face is unusually red and asks whether she is feeling unwell. Before she can explain, Tang Ji, the school's top troublemaker, suddenly appears and takes the letter from her. Tang Ji realizes that the letter was meant for Chen Yang and starts teasing the girl about giving him a letter. The girl desperately asks Tang Ji to return it and explains that she did not bring it for him. Ren calmly takes the letter from Tang Ji and tells him that it does not belong to him. Tang Ji becomes furious and challenges Ren to read the letter aloud in front of everyone. Ren instead asks the girl whether she wants him to read it. She immediately tells him not to. Ren respects her decision and says that since the letter belongs to her, he will not read it without her permission. Tang Ji becomes angry and hits a nearby tree in frustration. Ren tells him that if he wants to challenge someone, he should speak directly instead of taking his anger out on a tree. The girl becomes worried and tells Ren to read the letter because otherwise the others might hurt him. Ren confidently replies that these students are not strong enough to defeat him, so he has no reason to follow their orders. Tang Ji was furious that Ren has openly challenged him and his friends. Another student joins in and accuses Ren of showing off his confidence. Ren calmly turns toward a tree and delivers a single powerful punch. The tree breaks apart from the impact. Everyone becomes completely stunned by Ren's strength. Tang Ji and his friends stare at the broken tree in disbelief, realizing that Chen Yang has become far more powerful than they ever imagined. Two girls rush to the teacher and report that Tang Ji is bullying Chen Yang near the school entrance. The head teacher becomes furious and decides to stop Tang Ji from troubling other students. However, when they reach the entrance, everyone was shocked to see Tang Ji and his entire group respectfully kneeling before Ren. Ren calmly lectures Tang Ji about proper manners and tells him to repeat after him. He makes Tang Ji promise never to take someone else's belongings or bully anyone again. Tang Ji agrees and promises that he will ask for permission before touching anyone's belongings, including personal letters. Ren tells him to remember everything he has learned and behave properly from now on. Tang Ji and his friends quickly leave, while the head teacher stands there completely confused. The girls had claimed that Chen Yang was being bullied, but the teacher sees that Ren has somehow turned the entire bullying group into obedient students. Ren then returns the girl's letter. She admits that she actually wrote it for him and wanted to confess her feelings. Ren remembers Shen telling him that a pink letter usually means a romantic confession, so he asks her directly whether she likes him. The girl nervously admits that she has liked Chen Yang for a long time and asks whether he would become her boyfriend. Before the situation can go any further, the teacher tries to intervene, but Ren calmly says that he has no interest in romance right now. He explains that his biggest goal is to become the strongest man in the entire world and that he does not think he can focus on relationships. The girl was completely shocked by his answer and angrily walks away, calling him rude for saying that she does not deserve him. Ren becomes confused because she confessed her feelings just moments ago and is now upset with him. He decides that understanding girls is far more complicated than he expected. He then heads home, wondering why he feels like he has forgotten something important. The story briefly explains Chen Yang's original personality. Chen Yang preferred living peacefully and had no interest in fighting like the other boys. He mostly spent his time playing with his own toys and staying away from conflicts, but his classmates constantly treated him differently. Among them, only Jiang seemed to genuinely understand him and believed that he was different from the other boys. Chen Yang secretly liked Jiang and had imagined confessing his feelings to her someday. He even dreamed that she might confess to him first, which he considered one of the happiest possibilities in his life. Unfortunately, Ren's arrival completely destroyed that romantic plan. The scene shifts back to the hospital, where the doctors were treating the students who were affected by Ren's strange electrical experiment. The doctor prepares to treat Jiru, but complains that students should focus on studying instead of doing reckless experiments. Jiru, however, was more worried about protecting his expensive clothes and begs the doctor not to damage them. The doctor becomes frustrated and tells him that his safety is far more important than his clothing. After the students receive treatment, they begin discussing what happened. They learn that the strange electrical incident was caused by the experiment involving Ren. Jiru insists that Ren was responsible because he had inserted the key into the power outlet, causing the unusual chain reaction. The students assume Ren must be in serious condition because he was exposed to the strongest part of the effect. Some of them even believe that Ren may not have survived the incident, and they become surprisingly emotional about the possibility. One student admits that although Chen Yang was strange, he was not actually a bad person. Another says that Chen Yang used to bring them snacks, and without him, their usual teasing would not be the same. Suddenly, someone knocks on the hospital room door. Everyone assumes that a doctor or family member has arrived. Instead, Ren walks in carrying snacks for the entire group. Everyone was stunned because they thought Ren would still be recovering somewhere else. Ren casually explains that he had been looking for his classmates and found them here after learning that they had suddenly become unconscious. He tells them that their families are already worried about them and offers them the snacks he brought. The students cannot understand how Ren is completely fine despite being at the center of the electrical incident. Jiru asks Ren what technique he used to protect himself. Jiang tries to calm Jiru down and tells him not to behave disrespectfully toward Ren. Jiru cannot understand why Zhang is suddenly so polite and reminds him that they used to bully Chen Yang regularly. Then someone checks the photos that have been circulating in their group chat. Everyone was shocked to see images of Tangji and his entire gang respectfully kneeling before Ren. Jiru immediately starts trembling after realizing what happened. He finally understands that Chen Yang is no longer the timid student they used to know. Jiru thanks Ren for visiting them and bringing snacks, saying that they do not even feel worthy of receiving such kindness from him. Meanwhile, on the hospital rooftop, a patient was standing in a dangerous situation and feels that his life has completely fallen apart. He explains that the person he trusted most has recently given him divorce papers despite his serious illness. The patient believes that nobody cares about him anymore and is ready to give up on everything. Just as the situation becomes critical, he slips from the rooftop. The other students notice him falling and desperately warn Chen Yang to close the window. However, Chen Yang instantly moves forward and catches the patient in midair. The sudden impact injures Chen Yang's hand, but he still manages to pull the patient safely inside with his other hand. Everyone was stunned by his incredible strength because an ordinary person could never perform such a feat. Chen Yang calmly asks the patient why he was willing to throw his life away when life itself is so valuable. The patient explains that he has advanced cancer and believes he has very little time left. He also reveals that he suspected his wife had moved on, but he kept convincing himself that she would never do that. Now, after everything happened, he feels completely hopeless. Chen Yang tells him that Senior Shen once taught him that life can become extremely difficult, so training the mind is just as important as training the body. He explains that when emotions become overwhelming, it is okay to cry and release them instead of keeping everything inside. After that, a person can slowly rebuild their mental strength. Chen Yang tells the patient that no matter how difficult the situation seems, a strong mindset can help someone keep moving forward. The patient becomes emotional and thanks Chen Yang for saving him and giving him a new perspective on life. He promises to focus on becoming stronger and rebuilding his future instead of letting his current problems control him. Just then, a team of doctors arrives and is amazed that the patient is safe. They ask Chen Yang whether he was the one who rescued him. Chen Yang casually confirms that he was and wonders why they seem so surprised. Zhang notices Chen Yang's injured hand and warns him that it is badly hurt. Chen Yang simply says that an injury like this is nothing serious because his body's healing ability will take care of it. The doctors were stunned by his confidence and wonder how he can stand so comfortably despite the injury. Chen Yang even tells them not to worry because his body can recover naturally. The doctors assume that he is simply acting unusually because of everything that happened. Zhang becomes even more impressed and calls Chen Yang incredibly fearless. He then posts an update in their group chat saying that Chen Yang rescued someone from a great height and remained completely calm afterward. Tangji sees the post and admits that he now understands the huge difference between Chen Yang and ordinary students. Tangji says that following Chen Yang is probably the smartest choice for him and his friends. The scene shifts to the emergency room, where Chen Yang complains that the doctors gave him medication despite his protests. He insists that physical discomfort only makes his mind stronger and claims that his healing ability will take care of his injury. The doctor quietly assumes that Chen Yang is confused and orders the nurse to give him another sedative. The nurse explains that several doses have already been given, yet Chen Yang is still completely awake. Chen Yang proudly says that this proves his mental strength is far beyond normal. However, the medicine eventually takes effect and Chen Yang finally falls asleep. At that moment, the system explains that before the host arrived, everyone around Chen Yang strongly disliked him. But because of the host's actions, the people around him have gradually started respecting and appreciating him. The system also rewards the host with valuable training materials and the Qianchui combat technique. It then announces that only 3 seconds remain before Chen Yang returns to his original body. Soon, Chen Yang wakes up in his real body, while Shen was standing nearby. Shen asks why Chen Yang suddenly stopped talking in the middle of their conversation. Chen Yang looks around and excitedly tells Senior Shen that the mysterious voice inside his mind has spoken to him again. Shen asks what happened this time. Chen Yang explains that the voice sent him to a strange universe where he temporarily lived inside the body of a boy who wore pink pajamas. Shen was surprised and jokes that pink pajamas sound extremely unusual. The scene then returns to the hospital, where Chen Yang's mother anxiously asks him to wake up. Chen Yang slowly opens his eyes and asks where he is. His mother becomes extremely happy because her son has finally regained consciousness. However, Chen Yang suddenly looks at his injured hand and starts complaining about the intense discomfort. He asks his mother how his hand ended up in such a condition. 2 days later, Chen Yang arrives at the school gate with his mother. His mother tells him that she will park the car and return shortly, but Chen Yang becomes nervous about entering the school alone. He worries that his classmates might notice him before his mother comes back and asks her to hurry. Then, several students begin gathering near the entrance. To Chen Yang's surprise, many of the students who previously used to trouble him are now standing there waiting for him. Chen Yang nervously wonders why all the students who used to trouble him are suddenly gathering around him. He fears that if they all confront him together, he will not be able to handle the situation. But instead, every student kneels down and welcomes him as their boss. They say that after witnessing his bravery, Chen Yang has become their role model, and they promise to follow his example from now on. Chen Yang was completely confused because these are the same people who used to make his school life difficult. He realizes that his recent actions must have earned their respect. He decides to stop looking back and continue becoming stronger so that nobody will ever look down on him again. Meanwhile, Chen Yang's former crush watches him from a distance. She admits that his earlier words hurt her, but after seeing his courage, she finally understands why he said that she was not right for him. The scene shifts to the city's special organization, where several fighters discuss the growing intelligence of the monsters. One fighter says that dealing with them has become harder every day. Another expert explains that monsters used to behave predictably, but now they are becoming much smarter. If their intelligence continues increasing, humans may eventually lose their advantage. One member jokingly suggests that everyone should simply go home and pack their belongings before things become worse. The leader becomes furious and warns everyone to take the situation seriously. He explains that if even one monster reaches human-level intelligence, the entire city could be in serious danger. The organization has already alerted its members, but the leader believes they must prepare for the worst. Another member argues that escaping now might be the safest option, because trying to protect everyone could put their own lives at risk. The leader finally loses patience and confronts him. We then learn that the leader is Cyclops, the organization's strongest fighter, who possesses the power of an entire army. The scene shifts to Jiang Hospital, where the director was celebrating his birthday with the hospital staff. Everyone wishes him a long and peaceful life. The director makes a simple wish that his future days will finally become peaceful. Unfortunately, his wish was interrupted almost immediately when a staff member rushes in with news about room 666. The director realizes that the patients there are causing another major disturbance, and sighs because his peaceful birthday is already ruined. In the main hall, Ren and Shen were standing together and demanding that their requests be fulfilled. Some hospital staff arrive with food, hoping to calm them down, but the two insist that this is not what they asked for. They reveal that they have even drawn pictures showing exactly what they want. The staff members become completely confused, while the director finally arrives to handle the situation. Ren and Shen show him their requests, but the director immediately says that providing those things is impossible. Ren turns to Shen and asks what they should do now. Shen calmly replies that they should use their usual strategy. The two immediately lie down and dramatically complain about how unfair everyone is for refusing such a small request. The director gives up and orders the staff to bring them the equipment they want. Soon, Ren and Shen receive 2 dumbbells and a punching bag. However, moments later, the equipment is completely worn out from their intense training. Shen was amazed and tells Ren that he is the first person in the world to complete his training. Because of this achievement, Shen officially considers Ren qualified as a true fighter. Chen Yang sincerely thanks his senior and admits that he never expected to complete such demanding training. The system suddenly interrupts them and sarcastically claims that it was responsible for strengthening Ren's body, not Shen's training. Meanwhile, Zhang Yining's team was battling a powerful devil dog. One fighter attacks it with his weapon, but the attack barely affects the creature, Devil Dog. The monster then overwhelms the remaining fighters one after another. Realizing that his entire team is about to fall, the final fighter unleashes all his remaining energy in one desperate move. The resulting blast injures the Devil Dog, but fails to stop it. The monster quickly recovers and escapes into the surrounding area. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to the hospital grounds, where Ren was continuing his training. The system explains that Ren can absorb energy from his surroundings, which will greatly increase his physical strength. Shen demonstrates the technique on a small ant-like creature, while Ren watches. However, the system suddenly warns that Ren has been practicing the Chantry technique far beyond its safe limit. If he continues using so much power at once, his body could suffer severe strain. Shen immediately realizes that he has to help Ren before the situation gets worse. He begins inserting his needles into Ren's body to stabilize him. Ren then releases the excess energy through the openings in his body. Shen was amazed because his technique has become far more powerful than expected. The system explains that Ren is the first person in its recorded history to push the training technique beyond every known limit. It also reveals that Ren managed to release the excess energy before his body suffered permanent damage. Because of this achievement, the previous restrictions on his energy absorption have been removed. The system confirms that Ren can now absorb significantly more energy than before. Ren tells Shen about the mysterious voice inside his mind that has been training him. He admits that following its training had become increasingly difficult, but he was fortunate that Shen arrived in time. Shen proudly says that nobody in this world can surpass his training. Ren agrees and tells Shen that he will always consider him the best. However, Ren suddenly complains that he is extremely hungry. Shen jokingly suggests that Ren eat the small creature nearby to satisfy his hunger. Ren considers the strange suggestion, but before he can do anything, a nurse arrives and announces that lunch is ready. Shen immediately tells Ren to forget about the creature because they can simply eat a proper meal. In the dining hall, Ren starts eating with incredible speed. The other patients were stunned as he begins finishing food from multiple plates. Shen tells everyone not to worry because Ren is simply extremely hungry after his recent training. A nurse finally asks Ren to slow down because eating so much at once could upset his stomach. Ren insists that he is still hungry and wants more food. President Wang arrives and was surprised to see how much Ren is eating. He points out that Ren normally eats very little, making his current appetite extremely unusual. Ren explains that he simply feels much hungrier than usual. President Wang realizes that Ren's training may have caused a major change in his body's energy requirements. The system confirms that Ren absorbed a huge amount of energy through his technique. Because of this, his body now requires much more food and can process several times his normal intake. The scene then shifts to the investigation site where the authorities examine what happened to Jiang Yining's team. They discover that the entire team was overwhelmed by the Devil Dog despite their strong abilities. Cyclops becomes furious after learning the details. He explains that the 4 fighters were highly trained students who had graduated from an elite university. They had joined forces to confront the monster, but the Devil Dog outsmarted their entire team. Another officer realizes that this confirms their worst suspicion. The monsters are becoming increasingly intelligent. Cyclops agrees and explains that the Devil Dog deliberately targeted the team's support fighter first. It understood that as long as the healer remained active, the other fighters could continue recovering. Once the healer was taken out of the battle, the team's coordination collapsed. The Devil Dog then overwhelmed the remaining fighters almost immediately. Cyclops reminds everyone that when a monster and human are equally powerful, superior intelligence can give the monster a major advantage. An officer then asks where the Devil Dog has disappeared. Cyclops explains that the monster escaped through the city's sewage system. Fortunately, the creature was already injured during the battle. That injury should make tracking it easier. Cyclops orders his team to collect every available piece of information about the monster. He also orders them to issue a warning throughout the surrounding area. The nearby residents must be informed that a dangerous creature may still be moving around the city. One officer then asks whether the families of the fallen fighters should be informed about what happened. Cyclops tells them to first properly prepare the scene and handle everything respectfully. He orders the families to be told that their children fought bravely and protected others. Although their decision to confront such a powerful monster was extremely risky, Cyclops does not want their families to suffer unnecessarily. He believes the families deserve to remember their children for their courage, rather than the unfortunate circumstances. Meanwhile, the authorities begin preparing for the Devil Dog's next appearance. Cyclops knows that the monster is still somewhere beneath the city and could become an even greater threat. The investigation team begins tracking its movements through the underground network. The scene shifts back to the hospital, where the director learns that a monster is roaming near the building. He worries that dealing with a real monster will be even more difficult because the hospital already has plenty of unusual patients. Just then, a staff member rushes in and reports that the hospital dogs have suddenly become unconscious. The story then jumps back 2 hours to the dining hall, where Ren was still demanding more food. Ren complains that if the hospital cannot provide enough food, he wonders why they are even running the place. The doctor tells everyone to stay calm because Ren's unusual appetite needs to be examined. The other patients complain that Ren has already finished the food from their plates. Shen gets an idea and assures Ren that he will somehow find more food for him. While the doctor tries to manage the situation, Ren quietly leaves the dining hall. Ren thanks Shen for helping him, while Shen proudly declares that their mission is complete. The scene then shifts to the hospital kitchen, where 2 chefs are calmly preparing food. Ren suddenly walks in and says that he is hungry and needs something to eat. The chefs immediately recognize him as the patient from room 666 and become extremely nervous. They faint from the shock, leaving Ren confused about what just happened. The director later learns about the incident and decides to increase the chef's salaries as compensation. He also wonders why Ren's appetite has suddenly become so extreme. Another staff member explains that the doctors are still examining Ren to determine what caused the sudden change. Meanwhile, the devil dog reaches a tunnel near the hospital. It senses that there are no strong fighters nearby and decides that the area should be safe. The creature realizes that its body is still badly injured from the earlier battle. It decides that the hospital is the perfect place to recover. Seeing the hospital, it assumes that humans will probably help an injured animal. The devil dog then transforms itself into a cute puppy. It believes that its adorable appearance will convince the humans to take it inside. The creature secretly plans to use their kindness to get close to them. Back in room 6666, Shen complains that his watch has stopped working again. He says the repair shop previously told him that the date was March 2nd, while his watch shows February 29th. Shen realizes that the warranty has expired and that repairing it will cost money. Unfortunately, he admits that he has no money available. Ren also says that he is currently short on money. Shen jokingly suggests that they could make money by kidnapping someone. Ren surprisingly agrees and asks who they should choose. Shen jokes that Ren could be his target because Ren is his best friend. He then jokes that Ren's girlfriend would probably pay to get him back. Ren was confused and says that he does not even have a girlfriend. Shen reminds him about the girl he once saw on television. Ren casually replies that they are married now. Shen was shocked that Ren somehow got married without inviting him. He then decides not to use Ren for his ridiculous plan. Suddenly, Shen hears a puppy outside the window. Ren confirms that a cute puppy is sitting there and watching them. The devil dog silently celebrates because its plan appears to be working. Shen immediately agrees that the puppy looks adorable. Ren also admits that it looks extremely cute. The devil dog becomes confident that the humans are falling for its disguise. Shen notices that the puppy appears to be injured. He decides that they should bring it inside and treat it. A patient on the lower floor wonders why a strange animal has appeared near his window. Shen carries the puppy into the room and examines its injuries. He realizes that the animal needs proper treatment. Ren comments that the puppy is incredibly lucky to have ended up in their hospital. He also praises Shen's acupuncture skills and says that Shen should be able to treat it easily. The devil dog was surprised to discover that Shen knows acupuncture. It becomes excited because this could help it recover much faster. The creature believes that its luck has finally turned around. Shen prepares his acupuncture needles while the devil dog eagerly waits for treatment. The creature secretly plans to recover and then turn against the people around it. However, Shen inserts a needle into the puppy's head. The devil dog immediately feels something strange happening throughout its body. Shen observes its reaction and assumes that the treatment is already working. Ren praises Shen's technique and confidently says that the puppy will soon be completely fine. The devil dog realizes that something has gone terribly wrong. It feels as though its entire body has temporarily stopped responding. Even after trying to move, the creature cannot control its body properly. Shen assumes that one needle has produced an impressive result. He decides that adding several more needles should make the treatment even more effective. The devil dog desperately hopes that Shen will stop. It realizes that another acupuncture point could make its condition even more difficult. Before it can react, Shen continues the treatment. Soon, the puppy was covered with acupuncture needles. The devil dog becomes increasingly confused about what is happening. It cannot understand how a few simple needles have affected it so severely. The creature remembers surviving powerful battles without much trouble. Yet Shen's unusual treatment has left it completely unable to respond. Shen remains confident that his technique is successfully treating the animal. Ren continues praising Shen for his incredible medical skills. The devil dog silently realizes that approaching this hospital may have been a terrible decision. Meanwhile, the director was still trying to understand why several animals and patients around the hospital have suddenly become unconscious. The staff members continue investigating the strange incidents. Inside room 666, Shen remains focused on treating the mysterious puppy. The devil dog can only lie still while Shen continues his unusual treatment. It begins to realize that the humans it thought would be easy to manipulate may actually be far more capable than expected. Ren's stomach suddenly starts growling, and Shen asks if he is hungry. Ren admits that he is still not satisfied and says he had been hungry even earlier. He complains that the hospital staff did not give him enough food. The system detects an unusual energy source nearby that can supposedly satisfy Ren's hunger for several days. Ren realizes that the source is standing right in front of him. The system identifies the creature as a level 2 monster with no major physical problems. It also says that Ren can safely consume the creature as a source of energy. The devil dog notices Ren staring at it and becomes extremely nervous. Ren instead comments on how cute the dog looks. Shen agrees and says that the puppy looks surprisingly adorable. Ren jokingly suggests that beautiful things might also be delicious. Shen laughs and admits that he had the same thought when he first saw the puppy. Hearing them talk this way, the devil dog becomes completely confused. It cannot understand how these humans can consider a cute puppy a potential meal. The creature concludes that something must be seriously wrong with their logic. Shen then removes the acupuncture needles from the devil dog. He explains that they have already done everything they can to help it recover. Shen decides that they should simply wait and see what happens. The devil dog assumes that the humans have no idea that it is actually a powerful level 2 monster. Now that the needles have been removed, it believes its body will recover quickly. Shen calmly tells Ren that the poor puppy must have had a difficult life. He jokingly suggests that it should live more peacefully from now on. The devil dog becomes frustrated by the humans' strange behavior. It believes they have seriously underestimated its abilities. Shen notices that the puppy is still perfectly fine and wonders why it has not recovered yet. Ren tells him not to worry because the creature already appears stable. Shen then jokes that they should wait until the puppy fully recovers and find something else to eat. Ren agrees to share whatever food they eventually get. The devil dog becomes increasingly uncomfortable while listening to them. Finally, it transforms back into its original monster form. It declares that it has been holding back this entire time and cannot tolerate their strange comments anymore. The creature says that it expected humans to be kind, but these two are completely different. Shen, however, was impressed that the puppy has suddenly become much bigger. He jokes that it could now provide enough food for both of them. The devil dog becomes furious at how casually they are treating the situation. It rushes toward Shen, intending to scare him, but Ren instantly steps forward and knocks the creature down. Ren scolds the devil dog for behaving badly and reminds it that good dogs should not attack humans. The devil dog was stunned that an ordinary-looking human could overpower it so easily. It tries to bite Ren's hand but cannot even leave a mark. The creature was shocked by how durable Ren's hand is. Shen then notices that the devil dog has incredibly soft fur. He asks Ren if he can pet it. Ren happily agrees. Shen gently strokes the creature while the devil dog becomes completely bewildered. It cannot believe that these humans are treating a powerful monster like an ordinary pet. The devil dog decides that it would rather escape than continue being treated this way. It attempts to resist again, but Ren immediately stops it. Ren reminds the creature that Shen is his friend and must be treated respectfully. Shen proudly says that the puppy has already started following their instructions. The devil dog cannot believe what is happening. It begins wondering what kind of fighter Ren actually is. Based on Ren's strength, the creature suspects that he may be far stronger than an ordinary level 4 fighter. Shen continues playing with the puppy's soft fur. Ren wonders why the creature is still so energetic when he is already extremely hungry. Shen notices that the devil dog has a long, fluffy tail. He asks the puppy to move its tail through the air. The devil dog refuses at first because it considers itself far too powerful for such tricks. However, it realizes that resisting these humans may not be wise, so it reluctantly starts waving its tail. Shen becomes excited and says that the puppy was surprisingly talented. Ren agrees and praises the creature for learning so quickly. Shen then jokes that the puppy has become large enough to satisfy their appetite. Ren jokingly asks the puppy whether it is happy about becoming their food. The devil dog becomes extremely nervous after hearing this. Shen starts discussing different ways they could prepare their next meal. Ren says that he would prefer a hot pot. Shen points out that they would need heat to prepare anything. They realize that there is no proper cooking setup inside the room. The devil dog becomes relieved and assumes that it has finally escaped the strange situation. But Ren suddenly remembers that they have access to electricity. He suggests using the available equipment to prepare the food. Shen praises Ren for coming up with such a clever idea. He recalls that Ren had previously survived an unusual energy-based experiment and jokes about how strong he was afterward. Shen then looks at the devil dog and starts imagining an elaborate meal. The devil dog immediately realizes that the situation is becoming even more ridiculous. Shen says that he even has some spices available from the kitchen. Ren agrees that they could prepare something flavorful. The devil dog silently wonders how its peaceful recovery turned into such a bizarre situation. It had entered the hospital expecting humans to help it recover. Instead, it has discovered that Ren and Shen are treating it like an unusually intelligent pet. The creature begins reconsidering every decision that brought it to the hospital. Meanwhile, Ren and Shen continue using electricity to prepare the creature. Shen proudly says that using electricity as a substitute for fire was a brilliant idea. He was already excited about having a delicious meal soon. Patients in the nearby rooms notice the bright lights and assume that Ren and Shen are having a private party. They complain that the two never invited them. Inside the room, Shen encourages Ren to continue because their meal is almost ready. Ren assures him that everything is going according to plan. The devil dog can only stare at them in disbelief and wonder how it ended up in such a bizarre situation. It hopes that its next life will be much more peaceful. Eventually, the excessive electricity causes the lights on their floor to shut down. A nurse named Lu Jiang notices that the other floors are still functioning normally. He suspects that something unusual happened in Ren and Shen's room. Lu Jiang decides to investigate. When he shines a light into their room, he spots what appears to be the devil dog's remains near Ren and Shen. Lu Jiang becomes terrified and assumes that the two patients somehow captured a monster. He immediately runs to report the situation. Lu Jiang tells the director that Ren and Shen have apparently brought a monster into their room. The director was shocked and asks whether Lu Jiang is absolutely certain. Lu Jiang insists that he saw the creature with his own eyes. He also says that Ren and Shen looked extremely serious when he approached them. The director decides to check the room himself. After turning the lights back on, he notices that the power problem has already been resolved. He also suspects that Ren and Shen may have caused the blackout. Ren and Shen casually greet the director and jokingly ask why he keeps visiting their room. The director asks whether they have been doing anything unusual. He suddenly notices the strange object near them. The two patients quickly claim that it is simply a soft dog fur mat. The director immediately recognizes the material. He realizes that it belongs to the level 2 devil dog. He cannot understand how something from that creature ended up inside their room. The director demands to know where they found it. Ren and Shen casually claim that they were sleeping and have no idea where it came from. They insist that the object was simply there when they woke up. Lu Jiang interrupts and says that they are obviously hiding something. He insists that he saw the monster in their hands. The director then notices something glowing underneath Ren's blanket. He asks Ren what he has hidden there. Ren calmly denies hiding anything. He proudly reminds the director that he is an honest person and would never steal anything. The director points out that something is clearly glowing. Ren finally reveals a small flashlight hidden inside his clothes. The director takes it and asks again where the strange fur came from. Ren and Shen avoid answering directly. They remind the director that it is already very late and that he previously told them not to stay awake too long. They suggest that everyone should simply go to sleep. The director silently wonders why everyone keeps treating him like an old man. He reveals that he is only 54 years old. He remembers that his hair used to be completely dark before he started working at the hospital. After years of dealing with these unusual patients, his hair has gradually turned white. Meanwhile, Ren and Shen turn off the lights and prepare to sleep. Ren suddenly asks Shen how the director always discovers his secrets. He points out that Shen constantly carries acupuncture needles, yet the director has never noticed them. Shen explains that he cleverly hides the needles in his hair. Ren decides that growing his own hair might make hiding things easier as well. The system then gives Ren an important update. It reveals that Ren has absorbed the energy of a level 2 monster. As a result, his vision, strength, and speed have received major enhancements. For the next 3 days, his body will not require additional energy. The system explains that the energy Ren needed has already been supplied by the creature. The scene then shifts to the special organization. Cyclops was thinking about the families of the 4 fallen fighters. He feels sorry for their parents, who are still grieving. Cyclops cannot understand why the monsters are suddenly becoming so intelligent. He becomes determined to find the devil dog. Just then, he receives a call from the hospital director. The director says that something unbelievable has happened. He claims that his patients somehow defeated the level 2 devil dog. Cyclops initially thinks the director has lost his mind. He cannot believe that ordinary hospital patients could overcome such a powerful creature. The director asks Cyclops to come to the hospital because he has evidence. Cyclops immediately heads toward the hospital. Meanwhile, Lu Jiang continues investigating the mysterious creature. He remembers seeing a monster with Ren and Shen. He wonders where the creature disappeared. Since its fur was found inside the room, he assumes the creature must still be nearby. He then discovers more of the devil dog's fur behind the building. At the same time, Ren was casually throwing pieces of the fur out of the window. Lu Jiang suddenly senses something moving nearby. When he turns back, the strange creature was gone. Lu Jiang desperately tries to explain that he saw something moving away. Nobody seems willing to believe him. Overwhelmed by the strange situation, Lu Jiang faints. Meanwhile, the director reaches the tunnel where the creature originally appeared. He checks the security footage and confirms that the devil dog came out through that opening. He complains that the creature left the passage open afterward. The director worries that one of the hospital patients could accidentally fall into it. Suddenly, something rushes toward him. Cyclops quickly steps forward and protects the director. Cyclops recognizes the creature's remains and confirms that it is the same devil dog he has been searching for. He cannot understand how the hospital patients supposedly defeated such a powerful monster. The director confidently says that his unusual patients are capable of things nobody would expect. Cyclops admits that he has seen the evidence, but still cannot believe ordinary people accomplished it. He says that even highly unpredictable people should not possess enough power to overcome a level 2 monster. The director agrees with him on one point, but corrects his conclusion. He explains that Ren and Shen may behave strangely, but they are definitely not ordinary people. He tells Cyclops to study their history carefully. Cyclops stares at the records in disbelief and asks whether everything written there is actually true. The director confirms that every detail in the file is accurate. He explains that Ren has repeatedly put himself through extremely dangerous situations. However, no matter what happens, Ren always recovers. Even stranger, every difficult experience seems to make his body stronger than before. Cyclops realizes that Ren may have become powerful enough to overpower a level 2 devil dog. The director corrects him, saying Ren did not do it alone because Shen was involved too. Cyclops still cannot understand how these two unusual patients managed something so incredible. The director admits that even he has no logical explanation. All he knows is that the devil dog has already been defeated. He then casually reveals that the creature also ended up becoming their meal. Cyclops freezes and asks the director to repeat himself. The director confirms that Ren and Shen really consumed the devil dog afterward. Cyclops immediately realizes these two are far more unpredictable than he expected. The director agrees and says Cyclops still has no idea what they are capable of. Even so, Cyclops believes they are extremely talented. He decides that he must personally meet them and discover their true limits. The next day, Ren and Shen are relaxing in the hospital garden. Shen challenges Ren to a staring contest against the bright sky, with the first person to blink losing. Ren casually accepts the challenge. After some time, Ren remains perfectly comfortable while Shen's eyes become red and irritated. Unable to continue, Shen begs Ren to blink. Ren calmly says Shen can blink because Ren has already lost. Shen immediately closes his eyes and proudly celebrates his victory. He boasts that his eyesight is incredible. Cyclops has been secretly watching the entire ridiculous competition. He cannot believe they were staring towards such intense sunlight so casually. He knows doing that could seriously strain their eyes. Shen was clearly struggling, but Ren appears completely unaffected. Cyclops becomes even more interested in Ren's unusual physical abilities. He tells the director that these two young men might possess exceptional potential. Cyclops asks whether he can take them with him if testing confirms they have special abilities. The director was stunned for a moment before becoming extremely happy. He enthusiastically agrees, and even tells Cyclops to take both Ren and Shen together. The director jokes that it is basically a buy one get one free offer. However, he has one important condition. No matter what happens, Cyclops must not bring them back. The hospital also refuses responsibility for whatever chaos the two might cause afterward. Cyclops misunderstands and assumes the director is simply worried about his patient's safety. He promises that nothing will happen to them under his protection. The director silently thinks Cyclops has completely misunderstood the situation. He is not worried about Ren and Shen at all. Instead, he is worried about Cyclops and everyone working with him. Cyclops then explains that the situation across the city is becoming increasingly serious. Dangerous monsters are appearing everywhere while the organization does not have enough fighters. The creatures are also becoming smarter with each passing day. Cyclops hopes Ren and Shen possess enough potential to strengthen their side. The director begins feeling slightly guilty after hearing this. Cyclops is already short on capable people, yet the director is about to send these two walking disasters directly to him. He only hopes they do not turn Cyclops' headquarters upside down. Cyclops explains that intelligent monsters are becoming much harder to identify. Some can disguise themselves as harmless animals and approach humans without raising suspicion. They then reveal their true nature when everyone is least prepared. Cyclops admits that without the security footage, even he would never have believed Ren and Shen handled such a powerful creature. The director says he is genuinely worried about humanity's future. Cyclops assures him that he will continue defending the city. He refuses to let the monsters freely threaten innocent people. However, Cyclops privately understands that one fighter's strength will always have limits. No matter how powerful he becomes, he cannot deal with every monster by himself. That is why he has been searching for talented people and training them. His goal is to create enough powerful fighters to keep the entire city safe. Cyclops finally walks over to Ren and Shen. He asks whether they are the two who dealt with the devil dog last night. He also wants to know exactly how they managed it. Ren and Shen immediately deny doing anything aggressive. They claim they are peaceful people who never believe in unnecessary conflict. According to their ridiculous explanation, the devil dog somehow defeated itself. They even claim that afterward, the creature somehow ended up in their stomachs all by itself. Cyclops decides that testing them directly will be much faster than listening to their explanation. Without warning, he releases a controlled burst of force toward them. Shen was pushed backward, but Ren remains standing in place. Cyclops immediately realizes that Ren possesses remarkable physical potential. However, he also notices that Ren's unusual way of thinking could make traditional training extremely difficult. Based on his first impression, Cyclops estimates that Ren might normally reach around level 3. Shen tells Ren that Cyclops probably came here to train him. He also says Cyclops looks like a decent person. Ren disagrees and says Cyclops cannot possibly train him properly when he is already missing an eye. Cyclops silently wonders how someone can speak so casually and directly. Shen then tells Cyclops that he looks like a good person and offers to help improve his eye condition. He says that afterward, Cyclops might be better prepared to train Ren. Cyclops becomes even more confused by their conversation. He realizes that Ren and Shen have a completely different definition of training from everyone else. Shen explains that Ren no longer needs basic training and instead needs to level up. Shen offers to use his acupuncture technique to help Cyclops. Ren confidently says Shen is skilled enough to restore Cyclops' eye. Cyclops was skeptical because even top doctors could not solve his problem. Still, he decides to give Shen a chance. Cyclops sits down and allows Shen to begin the treatment. Shen places several needles around Cyclops' head. Cyclops immediately feels something unusual happening. Shen proudly introduces his powerful galaxy technique. He claims that nobody has ever been able to withstand its full effect. Cyclops jokingly questions whether the technique even has a real purpose. Shen says he developed it after years of research. Ren also praises Shen's impressive treatment skills. Cyclops soon becomes dizzy from the unusual procedure. He admits that he thought Shen was only joking around. Shen continues the technique and adds another set of needles. Cyclops suddenly feels a strange sensation inside his head. When the treatment finishes, Cyclops becomes overwhelmed and loses consciousness. Ren quickly catches him and asks what happened. Shen assumes that his technique was simply too powerful for Cyclops. He decides to modify the technique before trying it again. Ren agrees to let Shen test the improved version on him. However, the modified treatment also overwhelms Ren, causing him to lose consciousness. Shen then becomes exhausted and eventually collapses as well. The director arrives and finds all three of them unconscious. He wonders how Shen even acquired so many needles. The director was amazed that Cyclops, who was confidently discussing the city's problems earlier, has also been overwhelmed. He starts wondering what kind of situation Cyclops has accidentally gotten himself into. The scene shifts to the hospital as an emergency alert sounds. The entire staff immediately becomes nervous. Everyone hopes that Ren and Shen are not responsible this time. The director orders an ambulance to the hospital. The staff reveals that 2 ambulances have already been sent. They already suspect that Ren and Shen have caused another unexpected incident. The director jokes that everyone has become better at handling their problems. The ambulance arrives and picks up Ren, Shen, and Cyclops. The staff then notices that the driver is also recovering from an eye procedure. Everyone wonders how he can safely drive without normal vision. The driver calmly says that he knows the entire route by memory. The director realizes that the situation has become even more chaotic. Meanwhile, Dr. Wong sees Ren and Shen again and becomes extremely frustrated. He wonders why these two always end up at his hospital. For a moment, he imagines simply refusing to deal with them. He quickly reminds himself that he is a doctor and must help every patient. Dr. Wong calls the director and complains about sending the 2 patients back again. He reminds the director that he previously asked him not to send them over. He was even more surprised that a 3rd patient has arrived with them. The director says he already warned Wong that these 2 would keep returning. Dr. Wong says there should be a limit to how much trouble they can cause. He worries that keeping them at his hospital will scare away ordinary patients. He also complains that other doctors have already become reluctant to work there. Dr. Wong says he may have to leave if this continues. The director tells him to calm down because he has sent extra money for their treatment. Dr. Wong checks the payment and becomes pleasantly surprised. He admits that the supposedly stingy director has finally been generous. The director reminds him that accepting the money means keeping Ren and Shen for a few more days. Dr. Wong realizes that the director has cleverly trapped him into accepting the responsibility. The scene then shifts to the operating room. The system announces that Ren has successfully completed his training. It rewards him with an SS-rank defensive skill and increases his growth rate by 100%. Ren gives no response because he is still unconscious, so the system automatically accepts the reward for him. Later, 2 nurses discuss a hospital worker who became extremely shocked after dealing with unusual patients. They say he is currently staying in the hospital for observation. The scene then shifts to Lu Jiang talking with his girlfriend, who reassures him that she will get back into shape within 5 months. Lu Jiang says that being thin or heavy does not really matter to him, and he is simply happy that Uncle Wong introduced them. His girlfriend asks him to thank Uncle Wong when they return home because he has given Lu Jiang 2 unexpected gifts. Lu Jiang then shares some surprising news about his health. He says the doctor told him that his condition may prevent them from having a child naturally. His girlfriend calmly says they can simply adopt a child. Lu Jiang was touched by how understanding she is, even in a difficult situation. However, she says they can think about adoption 5 months later. The narrator reveals the funny truth that she is already expecting a baby. Apparently, Uncle Wong really has given Lu Jiang 2 gifts at once. 5 months later, she will simply welcome her own baby into the family, leaving Lu Jiang completely unaware of the situation. Soon, a doctor arrives and says Lu Jiang's recovery is progressing well. If everything remains stable until the afternoon, he can return home. A nurse then reports that the other patients have awakened. The doctor tells her to move them into the available beds. Ren was brought into the room, and Lu Jiang immediately recognizes him as a room 666 patient. Lu Jiang becomes extremely nervous because he believes these patients are dangerous. The doctor wonders why Lu Jiang has suddenly become so frightened again. Meanwhile, the system gives Ren a powerful new attack training method. However, Ren must level up within 2 days to unlock its full potential. Lu Jiang desperately asks the doctor to move him somewhere far away from Ren and Shen. The doctor agrees and orders the staff to transfer him to another room. Ren wakes up and immediately complains that he is extremely hungry. He starts wondering what good food the hospital has available. Hearing this, Lu Jiang becomes terrified and wonders whether Ren is looking at him as potential food. Before he can process the situation, Lu Jiang faints again. The doctor jokingly notes that Lu Jiang has already fainted twice within 5 minutes. At the same time, Cyclops finally wakes up and looks around the hospital room in confusion. He cannot understand how he ended up there because his current power should make him extremely difficult to overwhelm. He realizes that Shen's unusual acupuncture technique was responsible for his condition. Cyclops cannot believe that someone he considers unpredictable managed to leave him unconscious. Ren and Shen happily welcome Cyclops back to the world of the awake. Shen apologizes because his technique still needs improvement. He asks Cyclops to give him another opportunity to perfect the treatment. Cyclops agrees, believing that another attempt will help him understand what is happening. Shen becomes extremely happy and praises Cyclops for being so cooperative. He removes several needles from his hair and begins another treatment. A short while later, Cyclops becomes unconscious again. The nurses immediately rush him toward the emergency room because his condition has suddenly become unstable. Ren calmly assures Shen that Cyclops will recover because he is extremely strong. When Cyclops wakes again, he realizes that Shen's technique has once more overwhelmed him. He also notices that his body is temporarily unable to respond normally. Cyclops remembers facing extremely powerful opponents before without losing consciousness this quickly. He starts wondering whether Shen's technique is even more unusual than he first thought. Shen apologizes and admits that his technique is still incomplete. He asks Cyclops for one more chance to make everything work properly. Cyclops reluctantly agrees because he wants to discover the real reason behind his repeated condition. Shen promises that this time, he will definitely make the treatment work. A nurse suddenly calls for the doctors because Cyclops' condition becomes unstable again. Ren tells Shen not to worry and insists that Cyclops is strong enough to recover. The doctor explains that Cyclops' movement has been temporarily affected and that recovery may take some time. Shen approaches Cyclops and asks how he feels. Cyclops silently wonders how he ended up in this situation because of Shen's treatment. Shen notices that Cyclops looks frustrated and assumes he may no longer trust him. Ren quickly reassures Shen that Cyclops still believes in his abilities. Cyclops privately wishes that Ren and Shen would simply stay away from him for a while. Meanwhile, Ren and Shen were drinking a cheap soft drink. They complain that it tastes terrible because the hospital did not provide the drink they wanted. Ren says he wants something better, but does not have enough money. Shen then notices that someone nearby might be able to help them financially. The two begin looking towards Cyclops with an obvious plan in mind. Cyclops was still trying to understand how Shen's technique affected him so dramatically. Shen suddenly offers to sell Cyclops his special luxury watch at a very low price. Ren explains that the watch is supposedly a one-of-a-kind piece. He jokingly says it would perfectly match Cyclops because even Cyclops' unique appearance makes him stand out. Cyclops looks at Shen's hand and realizes the so-called watch is actually just a drawing. He decides not to waste his energy arguing with them. Instead, Cyclops says he wants information rather than a watch. He asks how Ren and Shen managed to defeat the level 2 Devil Dog. In exchange for the information, Cyclops offers them money. Ren and Shen immediately agree because the deal sounds extremely simple. Shen starts describing the Devil Dog as an unusually friendly and soft creature. He says the creature could even move its tail like a fan whenever they asked. Ren agrees and says the creature was surprisingly obedient. Shen explains that whenever they asked it to do something, it calmly followed their instructions. Cyclops becomes increasingly confused by their strange explanation. Ren and Shen then reveal that the Devil Dog eventually became part of their unusual dinner plan. Cyclops realizes that these two are far more unpredictable than he originally imagined. He begins wondering whether trusting them with important information was really a good idea. Cyclops gets annoyed and says he cannot listen to their nonsense anymore. He cannot believe their story, that the Devil Dog simply approached them and willingly prepared itself as food. Ren calmly says that this is exactly what happened. Shen adds that the Devil Dog was extremely tasty and surprisingly adorable. Even while watching from the afterlife, the devil dog complains that they are completely making up the story. It says these two humans are more like human-shaped dogs than normal people. Cyclops says trusting anything these two say is becoming impossible. He wonders whether they are simply making fun of him. Shen then wonders who the real crazy person is supposed to be. Ren points out that Cyclops is the one getting extremely angry. The two conclude that Cyclops must be calling himself crazy without realizing it. They remind Cyclops that he has already received the information he wanted. They immediately ask him to hand over their payment, because they do not like doing business on credit. Cyclops gives them his bank card and explains that it contains 50 million yuan. He says the amount is small, but it should be enough for the two of them. Cyclops then explains that he lost his family because of monsters, and now lives only for his mission. He says money has very little meaning to him compared with protecting the city. Shen was surprised and asks whether Cyclops is actually serious about giving them money. Cyclops tells them to use the card at a bank and withdraw the amount. However, Ren and Shen completely misunderstand the instructions. Shen returns the card and assumes Cyclops is simply trying to avoid paying them. Ren complains that he has never seen someone so unwilling to pay after making a promise. Their comments leave Cyclops completely speechless. The scene then shifts to a level 2 Mystic Snake hiding near a building. The Mystic Snake recognizes the building as the place where the people who defeated the Devil Dog are staying. It also senses another extremely powerful fighter nearby. The snake realizes that approaching the building directly would be far too risky. It decides to wait until Ren and Shen leave before making its move. While hiding nearby, the snake notices a couple arriving in the area. It casually observes them while waiting for the right opportunity. After the man leaves, the woman starts counting her money. The Mystic Snake begins thinking that she could be an easy target. However, it suddenly senses the Devil Dog's remaining energy nearby. The snake realizes that the people responsible for defeating the Devil Dog must still be somewhere close. It decides to remain hidden instead of taking any unnecessary risk. Meanwhile, the woman notices Ren and Shen approaching. She thinks they look friendly and considers asking them for some business. Ren says he is extremely hungry and wants to find somewhere to get food and drinks. The woman gestures for the two to come closer. Ren asks where they can buy Coca-Cola, Sprite, and something good to eat. Shen also asks her to recommend a store where they can find everything together. Instead of answering directly, the woman asks whether Ren and Shen are best friends because they are walking hand in hand. Ren becomes confused because she still has not given them the store location. The woman then notices the words Jiang Hospital printed on their clothes. She realizes that they are patients from a mental hospital. This reminds her of her own difficult memories connected to Jiang Hospital. A flashback shows her younger self following her sister through the hospital. Her sister was also struggling with a serious mental condition at the time. Another person cruelly mocked her sister for treating a doll as her child. The woman remembers how deeply upsetting that incident was for her family. Back in the present, she becomes emotional while remembering what happened to her sister. She asks Ren and Shen where their family members are. Shen says that Ren is like family to him. Ren explains that his mother moved to another country years ago and never returned. Because of that, he considers Mr. Thur, Shen, to be his real family now. The woman feels sorry for Ren and believes the two boys genuinely support each other. She decides to help them instead of asking for money. She gives them some cash and tells them to use it to get food and drinks. She explains that the hospital staff can provide them with better meals if they pay for them. Ren and Shen politely refuse the money because they only wanted directions to a place where they could eat. The woman laughs and offers to take them somewhere with delicious food. At the same time, the Mystic Snake decides that this is the perfect opportunity to approach them. It believes Ren and Shen are distracted and plans to surprise them. Before the snake can do anything, Ren instantly grabs it. The woman was shocked to discover that a snake has appeared beside them. The Mystic Snake was stunned because Ren reacts much faster than expected. It realizes that even its fastest move had no effect on him. Instead of being frightened, Ren says the snake looks incredibly cute. Shen agrees and jokes that the snake becomes even cuter because of how long it is. The Mystic Snake becomes confused and wonders whether humans really think it is adorable. A flashback reveals that other monsters had told it that humans liked small and harmless-looking creatures. Because of that advice, the snake had transformed into a smaller form to appear more approachable. It approached a young human expecting a positive reaction. Instead, the human became frightened and ran away. The people nearby also panicked and quickly left the area. The Mystic Snake becomes frustrated that humans cannot appreciate its supposed cuteness. It believes other monsters are naturally more popular than it is. However, Ren and Shen are different from everyone else. They are the first humans to openly tell the Mystic Snake that it is actually cute. The system tells the host that he is holding a very special food item that can keep his hunger satisfied for the next 3 days. It is a level 2 monster with a small amount of venom in its body, but if prepared as soup, it becomes surprisingly delicious. The mystic snake thinks that Ren and Shen are much nicer than ordinary humans because they consider it cute. It happily agrees to go home with them, joking that they can season it however they like. Ren then asks Sister Mia if she can help them. The scene shifts to a residential area, where a child tells his mother that their neighbor seems to be cooking something delicious because the smell is amazing. Meanwhile, Ren and Shen arrive at Sister Mia's house. Ren compliments the delicious smell, and Mia says the food will be ready soon. She has prepared a tasty snake soup for them. The story briefly flashes back to show what happened earlier. The mystic snake realizes that these humans have taken it home, but it suddenly cannot move. Confused, it wonders why they are restraining it. Ren tries using a knife, but the blade breaks against the snake's tough body. The mystic snake thinks humans are unbelievable because they called it cute before bringing it here, only to try to defeat it afterward. It confidently assumes that ordinary weapons cannot affect its powerful body. However, Ren uses his overwhelming strength and quickly defeats the snake. Back in the present, Sister Mia announces that the snake soup is ready. Shen says that it smells delicious, while Mia proudly explains that cooking is one of her specialties, and that her daughter always enjoys her food. Ren and Shen start eating while Mia tells them to enjoy themselves because she has already eaten. After finishing their meal, the two thank Sister Mia for inviting them. Ren also thanks her for packing the leftover soup for them. Mia tells them it is no trouble and asks them to return to the hospital before the staff starts looking for them. Ren says the meal was wonderful and remarks that Mia's daughter must be very happy to have such a caring mother. Mia becomes emotional and says her daughter is proud of her. As Ren and Shen leave, members of an organization approach from the opposite direction. Ren notices that their uniforms look impressive, while the organization members feel that Ren seems strangely intimidating despite looking like a patient. They begin checking the area after sensing the presence of a monster. However, the energy signature has suddenly disappeared. They contact Cyclops and report that the mystic snake appears to have already been dealt with. Cyclops was surprised, because such a powerful creature should have been officially reported if someone had defeated it. He believes the snake may have escaped instead and orders the team to continue searching. Since the creature was detected near the hospital, Cyclops says they must ensure the safety of everyone living there. Just then, Ren returns with food for Shen. Shen immediately tells him to open the container because the food looks delicious. When Cyclops sees what is inside, he is completely stunned. He realizes that the food is actually the remains of a level 2 mystic snake. The organization members wonder why their leader suddenly looks so shocked. Cyclops takes out a special device and confirms that the remains belong to a level 2 mystic snake. Ren and Shen casually continue eating, saying that the food tastes surprisingly good. Cyclops demands to know how they managed to defeat such a powerful creature. He remembers that the mystic snake was an extremely dangerous level 2 monster with incredible speed and venomous abilities. Yet Ren and Shen are treating it like an ordinary meal. Cyclops insists that they explain exactly what happened. Shen casually says that the snake simply came very close to them. Ren adds that it even wrapped itself around his hand and stared at them as if it wanted to be taken home. Shen agrees, saying that the snake was cute, friendly, and surprisingly tasty. From the afterlife, the mystic snake angrily realizes that it made the same mistake as the devil dog. It had believed them when they called it cute, only to discover what they actually meant. The devil dog tells the mystic snake not to worry because it made the exact same mistake before. It explains that when these two call something cute, they apparently have a very unusual idea of hospitality. Cyclops becomes exhausted by their strange conversation. He says he can no longer trust anything these two tell him. Ren and Shen wonder why Cyclops is getting so angry over nothing. They jokingly conclude that he must have a serious temper problem. Eventually, everyone goes to sleep. While lying awake, Cyclops reflects on Ren and Shen's incredible strength. Although the two look completely ordinary, they have already dealt with 2 powerful monsters and remain perfectly fine. Cyclops cannot understand what they are truly capable of. He starts suspecting that they are deliberately hiding their real abilities. Cyclops realizes that nobody has discovered their true limits yet. Suddenly, he hears movement late at night. He notices Ren and Shen approaching him and decides to pretend that he is asleep. Cyclops reasons that these two are extremely powerful and may finally reveal their hidden abilities while they think he is unconscious. Meanwhile, Shen tells Ren that Cyclops seems like a genuinely good person and says he is determined to help him recover. Ren encourages Shen and says he believes Shen will succeed this time. Cyclops silently continues pretending to sleep while listening to them. He becomes even more curious about what they are planning. Shen admits that the room is too dark for him to see where his acupuncture needles are going. Ren reassures him that there is no reason to worry. Ren reminds Shen that he has spent years researching his acupuncture technique and encourages him to trust his own abilities. Shen thanks Ren for believing in him and prepares to continue the treatment. He carefully begins using his needles on Cyclops once again, while Cyclops remains completely still and secretly observes the situation. Cyclops wonders what kind of strange treatment these two are planning this time. He realizes that staying quiet may be the best way to discover their true abilities. Cyclops realizes that controlling his body has become extremely difficult, and Shen's technique is now much stronger than before. Shen prepares the final needle, knowing that even a small mistake could ruin the treatment. Just then, a nurse enters and interrupts them, causing Shen to make a mistake with the final needle. Cyclops suddenly loses control of his body and desperately asks for help before passing out. The nurse panics and assumes that Ren and Shen have seriously harmed the patient. Doctors quickly arrive and discover that Cyclops needs immediate medical attention. Shen admits that the nurse arrived at the worst possible moment and that he accidentally placed the final needle incorrectly. Ren reassures him that there is still hope as long as Cyclops is stable. The scene shifts to the operating room, where doctors prepare Cyclops for treatment. However, before they can begin, Cyclops suddenly opens his eyes. Everyone was shocked because he had been given medication to keep him unconscious. Since Cyclops is now perfectly alert, the doctors decide that the procedure is unnecessary and send him back to his ward. A nurse gives Cyclops two choices: return to the room with Ren and Shen or stay in a private room. Cyclops becomes furious the moment he hears Ren and Shen's names. The doctors remain confused because they can never predict how these unusual patients will react. They then receive another surprise when the test results show that Cyclops has recovered remarkably well. Even his damaged leg has returned to normal. The staff then realizes that Cyclops has already left the examination area. Back in his ward, Cyclops reflects on his situation. Despite being one of the city's strongest fighters and the leader of the special forces, Shen has somehow managed to knock him out 3 times. Cyclops admits that Shen has achieved something extraordinary, but he has absolutely no intention of trusting him again. He wishes he could forget the entire experience, but his freshly shaved head will always remind him of Ren and Shen. Ren happily tells Cyclops that surviving Shen's treatment proves how strong he is. He then casually suggests that Shen simply needs to keep trying. Cyclops becomes alarmed by the idea and wonders whether these two are actually planning to finish him off. He heads toward the window and gives Ren and Shen an emotional farewell. Cyclops says that meeting them was one of the strangest experiences of his life and hopes they never cross paths again. He then makes a dramatic exit through the window. The hospital staff panics and assumes that Cyclops has done something reckless, but the situation quickly turns into another misunderstanding. Cyclops safely lands below and points upward, admitting that Ren and Shen are incredibly strong but impossible to communicate with. He jokes that taking them into the special forces would probably cause more trouble than any monster. Cyclops then contacts the director and says that Ren and Shen have recovered, so he can take them back if he wants. He also declares that he has no intention of visiting the hospital again. The director was stunned because Cyclops had given him hope earlier, only to completely change his mind. He complains that his peaceful life has once again been disrupted by the same troublesome pair. Dr. Wong then calls the director and reports that one of the patients has escaped through the window. The director casually asks who he is talking about. Dr. Wong explains that it was the bandaged patient, but when they checked downstairs, there was no sign of him. The director tells him not to worry about Cyclops and ends the call. Dr. Wong becomes furious because the patient still owes him a hospital bill. He demands that the director take responsibility for the payment, but the director simply pretends not to know him and hangs up. Meanwhile, Ren and Shen were being driven away in an ambulance. Shen wonders why Cyclops left without properly saying goodbye. Ren explains that Cyclops did say goodbye before leaving, although he could not hear everything that was said afterward. Shen assumes Cyclops must have had somewhere important to go. Ren also believes Cyclops still trusts Shen, and probably because he was disappointed that the treatment had not worked perfectly. During the journey, Shen notices some apples nearby and says he wants one. Ren immediately gets one for him, and the two happily eat the apples while praising their taste. The driver compliments Dr. Wong for personally driving the patients around and calls him a dedicated doctor. Dr. Wong quietly explains that he has some unfinished business to take care of after dropping them off. The scene then shifts to the city's port, where a level 4 octopus monster was causing a major disturbance. The special forces attack it, but their efforts have little effect. The monster suddenly releases a dangerous poisonous fog, forcing the soldiers to retreat. They realize that the creature may actually be closer to level 5 in strength, and that getting too close to the fog could put them in serious danger. They call for additional support. One soldier watches the fog approach and believes there is no way out. Suddenly, a protective barrier appears around him. Cyclops arrives at the port and declares that he is already in a terrible mood. The special forces are surprised to see their leader return so quickly. Cyclops says that he hopes the monster can withstand his attack because he needs somewhere to release his frustration. His team then notices his freshly shaved head and asks why he suddenly looks completely different. Cyclops says it was not his choice and prepares to attack. he unleashes a powerful strike toward the octopus monster. The scene shifts to a bridge, where Dr. Wong notices an unusual traffic jam. He wonders why the bridge is suddenly packed with vehicles when it normally has very little traffic. The driver says he has no idea what happened and assumes that some incident ahead has caused the authorities to stop the traffic. Some people suddenly run past the ambulance, warning everyone to escape because the monster is about to reach them. Dr. Wong realizes they may have been trapped in the middle of the chaos. Meanwhile, Cyclops has already defeated the level 4 octopus monster with a single powerful attack. However, he senses another monster nearby and becomes suspicious. His team insists that they clearly saw only one monster at the scene, but another soldier soon arrives with alarming news. A second monster escaped and is now heading toward the city through the bridge. Back on the bridge, Ren complains that one apple was not enough to satisfy his hunger. Shen reminds him that the two are only 2 apples in the ambulance and they already ate both. Ren admits that he has been unusually hungry lately because his body seems to require a huge amount of energy for his next breakthrough. The system then angrily rejects Ren's joke about calling it a psycho. Nearby, doctors rush out to help an injured person. At the same time, another octopus monster appears and desperately searches for its father, who has disappeared. Dr. Wong tells the driver to bring him the first aid kit because he believes he can still save the injured person. The driver warns him that the monster is approaching and they should escape immediately. Dr. Wong hands his watch to the driver and asks him to protect it before leaving. He explains that the watch has great sentimental value because a young patient once gave it to him after he successfully treated her. That experience inspired Dr. Wong to promise that he would never abandon a patient, no matter how difficult the situation became. The driver reminds him that there are still 2 patients inside the ambulance, but Dr. Wong jokingly claims that they do not count as his patients. Suddenly, the monster arrives, forcing everyone to react quickly. Ren immediately helps Shen remove his restraints, and the driver tells them they need to leave. Before leaving, Shen asks what the monster looks like. The driver says that it is surprisingly cute. Ren instantly decides that there is no reason to run and tells Shen they should stay and meet the monster. The driver was stunned by their strange reaction and calls them crazy. The scene shifts to the level 2 octopus monster, which is searching for its father. Ren approaches and tells it that its father will not be coming today, but they have come to meet it instead. Dr. Wong asks the driver for more bandages, but when he looks around, driver Huang has already disappeared. The recovering patient thanks Dr. Wong and urges him to leave because the monster is getting closer. Dr. Wong refuses, reminding him of the promise he made when he became a doctor. The octopus monster approaches them and asks whether they have seen its father. Wong remains silent, so the monster decides that it has no choice but to confront them. Just as the monster attacks, its tentacles suddenly stop before reaching Dr. Wong. Ren has grabbed the creature and casually throws it aside. Dr. Wong was shocked to discover that he is completely safe. He wonders what just happened when he realizes the monster has disappeared from his immediate surroundings. Driver Huang returns with a car and explains that the ambulance is completely stuck. He suggests moving the patient into the car and escaping. Dr. Wong was surprised that Huang returned after apparently leaving them behind. Huang tells him there is no time to argue and insists that they leave immediately. Dr. Wong reminds him that he is the president, but Huang jokingly corrects him, saying that Dr. Wong is only the vice president. Meanwhile, the octopus monster somehow ends up underneath the bridge and becomes confused about how it got there. Shen tells Ren that he wants to play with the monster too. Ren tells him to jump from the bridge because he has already secured the creature and Shen can safely land on it. Shen agrees and jumps. Ren quickly moves the octopus into position, allowing Shen to make a surprisingly smooth landing. Shen was impressed by how soft the monster's skin feels. The octopus monster becomes furious that Shen is sitting on it and tries to shake him off, but Ren quickly restrains the creature again. Ren scolds it for attacking Shen and decides that the monster has gone too far. Shen notices how many tentacles the creature has and jokingly suggests that there should be more than enough food for both of them. The octopus monster desperately calls for its father, wondering why these humans are treating it so strangely. Ren and Shen continue dealing with the monster in their completely unpredictable way, while the creature becomes increasingly confused and overwhelmed. Soon, Shen discovers a convenient place to prepare food and starts grilling the monster's tentacles. The octopus monster was horrified when it realizes exactly what they are cooking. Surprisingly, the creature even notices how good the grilled food smells. Ren and Shen enjoy the meal, but they still complain that they are not completely full. The octopus monster becomes exhausted from the entire situation and desperately calls for its father, hoping someone will come to help. Shen points out that only the monster's head remains, while Ren jokingly decides that this must be the final part of their meal. Afterward, Cyclops and his Special Forces team arrive at the bridge to investigate. They find signs that the monster was recently there, but the creature itself is nowhere to be seen. A team member uses a special device to track the monster's final energy signal and confirms that it came from somewhere underneath the bridge. Cyclops orders everyone to investigate below. When they reach the area, they discover Ren and Shen casually sleeping after their meal. The team member was completely confused because the device still indicates that the octopus monster is nearby, yet there is no monster in sight. He concludes that the energy signal must have malfunctioned and suggests replacing the device. Cyclops, meanwhile, was stunned to see Ren and Shen again, so soon after saying goodbye to them. He cannot understand how they keep appearing wherever he goes. The team member insists that the monster's final energy signal definitely came from this exact location. However, there are only Ren, Shen, and the remains of their meal. Cyclops quickly realizes what probably happened, but still struggles to believe that these two could have dealt with a level 8 monster so casually. A female Special Forces member suggests waking Ren and Shen to ask where the monster went. Cyclops immediately refuses, saying that he cannot trust anything these two unusual people say. When she asks why he keeps calling them unusual, Cyclops warns her never to blindly trust them. He jokingly claims that anyone who does could end up with the same strange hairstyle he has now. The woman was impressed that Cyclops identified Ren and Shen so quickly. The team member explains that their boss knows almost everyone in the city. Since they cannot find the monster, the team wonders what to do next. Cyclops then asks Ren and Shen whether the octopus monster tasted good. Shen happily confirms that it was delicious, leaving the entire Special Forces team completely speechless.